Hello, welcome back to my channel. My name is Jillian and this is Simply Budgets. My husband and I are on a journey to become debt-free. We use a zero-based budget and cash stuffing method to keep us on track. Our biggest goal is to pay off our debt and simplify our life and our budget. If this is something that interests you, stick around. So we are going to be doing the monthly budget closeout in today's video for the month of May. So I fill this out throughout the month as things happen, and then I always go through and add these up, and that's not something that I'm flipping back and forth between pages and stuff like that. So that's really not something that I find easy to film. It's hard to follow along, so I always gather this data and then I review it with you guys. So let's take a look here. So I had projected that we would have an income of $10,258.23 this month. We actually had an income of $11,371.46. So we had more than was expected. So I've highlighted this as green, just as it's a positive. Then I go through and each month when things are paid, I will record it. So we were under budget for what I had budgeted for Iberostar and our line of credit and our loan, because our interest payments are actually lower on this because we've paid off quite a bit. So there's a win. RSPs are higher, but that's because we met with our financial advisor and we increased our weekly contributions to our RSPs to $75 off of the respective pay. So when it's my husband's pay week, he contributes $75 to his RSP, and when it's my pay week, I contribute $75. And then mortgage was on track, internet was the exact same, home and auto insurance, I forgot that it came up for renewal, and we actually now pay $12.25 more a month. Boo, but that's the way of the world, I guess. Everything's increasing, so our new monthly amount is $424.43. So I will adjust future budgets accordingly. Bank fees were $7.95 more than what I had budgeted, but that's because I had forgotten to increase our budgeted amount to $34.80, which is what we actually pay each month. TV payments were on par. Nova Scotia Power, we paid $18.88 more than what I had projected, as our power bill was a little higher. We did save $150 by not paying anything on heat because we've not used any oil. So when I added this up based on what we had projected to spend and what we actually spent, we were over this budget by $80.09. We were exactly on budget with the additional payments to the line of credit that we've been making. There were some areas where there were some differences here in the sinking funds. There was, I believe it's 125. Is that right? 125? Oh no, it's an additional $75, sorry. Because we put gas in 2 vehicles in 1 week, so there was an additional $75 there. There was a significantly higher amount of money. We were $515 over in professional license, but that's because on one of my paychecks, I had been paid out what my job had been taking off of my pays for my professional license, as they're no longer paying it. So I asked that they pay that out, so I put that aside already. Property taxes, we did contribute a little bit more because I increased the weekly amount that I wanted to be contributing to $30 instead of $20. So when you add all of these up, we are $680 over the projected budget in this area. We did put $150 additional into emergency fund. We did not put as much into month ahead, but we did put the $500 into monthly challenge. So when all is said and done, we have a difference of $60. So we were over the projected budget of $60 here. So when you look at it all, we went over in our budget for bills and expenses. We went over in sinking funds and savings. We were on par with debt payments. We had more come in for income. And when all was said and done, everything balanced out that we had $402.72 that actually stayed in our joint account as a buffer. So even though we went over in several categories on our payments, we actually had a surplus in our budget this month. So those are the months that I like to see, and it helps us build up that buffer. So in the months where we actually have a deficit in our budget, we are not hit as hard because it just comes out of that buffer that we have sitting in our account. So that is it for the monthly budget overview, my wrap up of May. It's very brief overview. It's just kind of like a how did we do this month? And reminds me that when I do my budget for June, I do need to make some changes, as I need to increase what we have budgeted for bank fees. I need to increase what we have budgeted for home and auto and for our RSPs. So hope you have enjoyed this. I hope that what I do here makes sense. I know this is kind of messy, but this is what works for me, so that when I quickly look at this, I know where I went over and the positives and the negatives. So anything that I look at as a positive on this, I highlight in green, and a negative I highlight in red. These I probably didn't need to put in red, but oh, and I missed one. I see that I hadn't accounted for anything for giving, but we did put 35 in here. So that is another overage there. It is calculated into this 680, but I forgot to highlight it. So that's everything for my video today. I hope you've enjoyed this content. If you have, don't forget to give a like, subscribe, share my video with any that you might think might enjoy it. And as always, leave a comment below. I love reading them, and I hope you have a wonderful evening. Bye.